This is TechCrunch. Indian startup Rocket is betting that the next big opportunity is the part before vibe coding, having AI help people decide what to build. It has launched a platform that produces consulting-style product strategies. The startup, based in Surat, India, on Tuesday launched its platform, Rocket 1.0, which connects research, product building, and competitive intelligence in a single workflow. The platform generates detailed product strategy documents, including pricing, unit economics, and go-to-market recommendations. As AI-powered coding tools proliferate from platforms like Cursor, Replit, and Lovable to features such as Claude Code and Codex, writing code has become significantly easier and faster. Rocket co-founder and CEO Vishal Virani said everyone can generate the code now. It has become a commodity, but what to build is something which everyone is missing. He added that running a business and just building a code base are two different things. TechCrunch briefly tested Rocket's platform ahead of its launch and found that it generated product requirement documents in PDF format from simple prompts. Those documents resembled consulting-style reports rather than vibe coding tools or chatbots, which largely focus on features and execution. However, some of the analysis appeared to be synthesized from existing data, combining known pricing models, user behavior patterns, and competitive insights, rather than based on independently verifiable information. That suggests users may still need to validate outputs before making business decisions. Virani said the platform can offer human support when users encounter any issues. The product can also track competitors, including changes to their websites and traffic trends. Rocket draws on more than 1,000 data sources for its analysis, including Meta's ad libraries, SimilarWeb's API, and its own crawlers. Rocket's subscription plans range from $25 per month for building applications to $250 for strategy and research capabilities, and up to $350 for the full platform, including competitive intelligence. The $250 plan can generate 2 to 3 McKinsey-grade research reports alongside product builds, Virani said, positioning its higher-tier offerings as a lower-cost alternative to traditional consulting, which often costs thousands of dollars for similar strategy work. Now, Rocket raised a $15 million seed round back in September from Excel, Salesforce Ventures, and Together Fund. Since then, the startup says it has grown from 400,000 to over 1.5 million users across 180 countries. It also reported an annualized average revenue per user in the $4,000 range, though it did not disclose detailed paying customer numbers. The startup said it operates at gross margins of over 50%, with 20 to 30% of its customers being small and medium-sized businesses. Rocket has a team of 57 employees and is headquartered in Surat, with operations in Palo Alto. Defense startup Hermeus has raised $350 million to keep developing what it calls the fastest unmanned aircraft in a funding round that has pushed its valuation to $1 billion. The Los Angeles-based startup said Tuesday that it has raised $200 million in equity financing, led by Khosla Ventures. Existing investors Canaan Partners Founders Fund, In-Q-Tel, and RTX Ventures also participated. New outside money is coming from the venture fund of media conglomerate Cox Enterprises, the publicly traded closed-end management investment company Destiny Tech 100, and others. The remaining $150 million comes in the form of debt, which Hermeus co-founder and CEO AJ Piplica told TechCrunch will help the startup and its growing cap table maintain some control. He said, "We build a lot of hardware. We're expanding our manufacturing capabilities, and if we can finance a large portion of our spend non-dilutively, it's absolutely the way to do it." Hermeus's raise comes at a time when venture and corporate investors are flooding money into defense startups. VC investment in defense tech crossed $9 billion over 265 rounds globally last year. That's according to PitchBook, with corporate investors contributing $2 billion across 28 rounds. But for Hermeus, it's not just about good timing. Piplica attributes at least some of the fundraising success to a change Hermeus made on the technical side a few years ago. The startup had spent time and money developing its own engine, partially out of necessity, he said, after Hermeus courted RTX Ventures, the venture arm of RTX Corporation, the defense contractor formerly known as Raytheon. Well, a new opportunity arose. Piplica and his team decided instead to work with RTX subsidiary Pratt & Whitney to modify the aerospace company's F-100 engine in order to power Hermeus's hypersonic aircraft. This put Hermeus on a faster track with a proven and functional engine, making it easier to test and iterate while lining up new contracts with the U.S. government along the way. Instead of aiming at one big goal of building a Mach 5 aircraft, Hermeus was now able to diversify, according to President Zach Shore. He said, "This accelerates us to Mach 5 and also reinforces the economics of the business while satisfying near-term demand from the Department of Defense. I think in that way, you have a number of concentric circles overlapping simultaneously that reinforce the business, that reinforce the customer, and that reinforce the technology maturation." Last month, Hermeus flew a demonstrator version of its technology that was the size of an F-16 fighter aircraft. The startup has said it's aiming to make the next iteration of that aircraft go supersonic. A third aircraft is in the works as well. This rapid prototyping approach is hard to come by in aviation. Piplica said this rapid prototyping approach is hard to come by in aviation. And he points to SpaceX as the industry standard for being willing to build, test, fail, learn, and repeat until it gets a vehicle right. That's why the hardest challenge Hermeus faces is cultivating or developing talent. There's nowhere in the world where companies are building new, full-scale aircraft on an annual basis, clean sheet or otherwise, he said. People used to do that, but they're all dead, which means you have to go make those people in one way or another. The new funding round will also help Hermeus continue to build out its staff, which is already approaching 300 employees. Hermeus has now had 2 successful test flights. It flew a demonstrator last year that was 3 times smaller. But Piplica stressed the need for Hermeus to be ready for some kind of failure, which, again, he sees as part of the rapid prototyping process, saying, "The challenge is, how do you pick the right kind of chunks of risk to take on and apply your capital to over time? Like, yeah, we could crash an airplane, and I expect it will happen at some point in our development program. We're set up to do that very safely, but this is also why building more aircraft is super important. If you don't build a lot, it takes you a lot longer because you're going to go baby things. We wonder why it takes us 20 to 25 years to develop a new aircraft." That's all for now. For more stories like these, go to TechCrunch.com.